Supersonic's money transfer is giving you an unbeatable bonanza from now until the end of October. Yes! From now till the end of October, you stand a chance of winning a bag of rice when you receive monies in the Gambia from UK, Europe, USA, Canada and Switzerland with Supersonic's money transfer. Amazing! So from now till the end of October, every time you receive monies in the Gambia from UK, Europe, USA, Canada and Switzerland, you stand a chance of winning a bag of rice. Only 100 bags available, so hurry now and be part of the 100 lucky winners in this special unbeatable bonanza from now until the end of October with Supersonic's money transfer. Enjoy our safe, fast, reliable and convenient money transfer service with the largest payout network in the Gambia with charges starting from $0. Yes! Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonics Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics. The unbeatable bonanza with Supersonics.
Greetings to the Gambian people, by extension, greetings to the rest of the continent. Of course, this is the conversation that comes away on Sambian's VIP Magazine, VIP TV here in the West African nation of the Gambia, aka the smiling coast of West Africa. And for today's edition of the conversation, we're very proud and honored to be featuring one of the brightest sons of the soil of the Republic of the Gambia, who has been on this very platform sometime last year. This is an opportunity to tap into this fountain of knowledge as he speaks on the critical national issues, especially as the Gambia heads toward general and presidential elections come 2021. He is a young environmentalist as well as a classroom lecturer, but he's going to speak with us about himself shortly for the purpose of our diverse audience across the length and breadth of this very continent of Africa. Greetings to you, Mr. Malmo Jr., and welcome to this platform for the second time, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm happy to be part of the show today. Thank you for having me.
That's great. By the way, where are you speaking to us from right now?
I am speaking to you from Bakau at the moment. You know, I am out, but of course I'm somewhere around Bakau talking from there.
Okay, tell us, how is that very community right now? How is it like right now?
Yeah, it's a bit warm, you know, it's the Gambia, it's, 1 p.m. and then, we're getting into the Hamatan period, so it's warm. Of course, there are a lot of movements around because it's after school hours and as well after work hours, so everybody's rushing home. So it's more or less like a rush hour at the moment where everybody's trying to get home from work, from school, and, whatever activity people are engaged in. But generally, it's quite good, it's okay, and life is normal.
Yeah, that is very great to hear from our guest, Mr. Malmo Jr., as he speaks about here on the conversation that comes with us, Sambian's VIP Magazine, VIP TV. Be reminded that this is a platform that is meant to speak on social, moral, economic, and political issues affecting our one continent and finding some of the best ways forward to ameliorating these concerns, should I say, challenges. Quickly, Mr. Malmo Jr., you are a household name in this country in the area about the social sciences and environmental sciences and what have you, as well as politics and then the classroom. But this is a pan-African media house that covers the rest of the continent. So for purpose of our followers across the continent, can you kindly tell us who is Mr. Malmo Jr. From an academic to professional lifestyle, sir?
Could you say that again? I did not get the final wording.
Yeah, I am saying, can you tell our audience across the continent who is Mr. Malmo Jr. from an academic background to a professional life as well?
Yes, I got that. Basically, my name is Omar Malmo Sambu. I am Gambian, and of course from Brufut. I'm currently a lecturer at the University of the Gambia and a PhD student on research. So I'm doing a PhD on environmental resource management and development. So basically, this is what I'm involved in. I'm quite a very prominent activist on environment and contemporary environmental issues, which are cross-cutting, from economic perspective, social, and as well people and their interaction with nature. So basically, that's briefly me. I've been a student union president for the Gambia, and as well, at the national level and as well at the University of the Gambia level. We run a lot of, youth-led organizations, like Climate Watch the Gambia and so on. So basically, I negotiate for the Gambia as well at the level of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So those are the basic things I'm basically involved in, and that is briefly who I am. I'm still within my 20s, almost getting very close to the higher upper 20s, but yes, still within the 20s. So that's still a young man talking to you from the Gambia.
That is a very quite interesting one there from our guest this afternoon here on Symbians VIP Magazine and TV. With me here, Tony MIKEL Howard, who is tasked with the responsibility of inspiring and motivating the current generation of young Africans in the actualization of their respective dreams and preaching the message of peace and national unity, as well as revitalizing the Africanization policy that speaks about good governance, social justice, democracy, human rights, and most importantly, the African unity. Quickly to you, Mr. Malmo Jr., your nation, the Gambia, heads to a general and presidential elections come 2021. What would you say is your perfect description of the political landscape of this country as she heads to 2021?
What I would say is this country is highly divided. When we talk about the politics at the moment and the political climate in the country, it's characterized by high division, and of course, we ushered in a democratic government after, the ousting of the former president, who is generally described as a dictator. And since then, we've seen the registration of political parties up to 15, 16. And as well, the incumbent president currently, who is supposed to serve for 3 years, deliberately said no, and it's now 5 years. And he has established his own political party, which is going to run for the presidency come next year. So there is a high division, and there is a very tense political climate in terms of people moving from one party to another. And of course, if you look at the growth rate of certain political parties, that could tell you that, of course, what used to be might not be the case, and those parties that think they're very prominent might actually become victims come next election. But the incumbent president is actually doing all he can, and he will do all he can in his means to retain his position as president come 2021.
That is there from my guest, Mr. Malmo Jr. Those of you that are watching us on our social media platform there from Nairobi, Kenya, like Palm Chida will say to you in the Kiswahili language, I say to you, Jumbo, 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 Rabari yako, Kumfuta nyoyo zangu, nakupenda pia say asante kumonsara when you quit to say easy. That is thank for supporting us. So those in Rwanda, in Kigali, said will say to you in the Ichigwana language, I say to you, Apagwana, Nabakuna Moise. And to the Britonian people in the Mandate, I say to you, Bua, Bieluve, on the other hand, I say to you, Kai Gorman, so of course, the diamond mining region of that very country, Freetown, Sierra Leone, Konon district, I say to you, Wente. Of course, to the Creole speaking people, I say to you, right away to Western Nigerians that comprises Ikiti State, Kwara State, Ondo, Lagos, Oyo State, and the reservoir Yoruba speaking region, I say to you, Bao, Nisha, Bao, Lumo, to Jumenta, especially those I haven't seen for too long, to Eastern Nigerians that are Igbos. I say there's somebody like Christian and Joku that say to you, one name the number Ikaraka Ijia, Mechiku Abiyama. Strengthening all of you wherever you are under the sound of my voice, to the north part of the country that is dominantly Islamic, we say to you, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi barakatuh. Of course, we say, Sanu Dua in the Hausa language. Of course, to the Ghanaian people that say to you, Apo man. To my own Liberian people in Pele, I say to you, and then to the French speaking nations of the continent, I say to you, merci de nous avoir supporté through somebody like Nulutondo, Langar, and Lele Zaka, as well as Thogozida Sawalan from Europe, South Africa. I say to you, people in the KwaZulu Natal language, I say to you, Sanibudanim Zanzi, Gayane Bengelela. To somebody like Constantino Pialetero in Botswana, in the Southern African nation, I say to you, in Setswana language, readable hell about linking Jaha to the fullest in Gambia will say me edema moja. Of course, the Mandinga will say Abiyan so Famoka will say Ndenyanelana Dunya. So I will never forget you to the world of Zenaga Def, the Malamuna Fati, the Malamus Fati Seadonabi. That is we will never forget you. This is your conversation. Sorry for we gotta take much time to give it a pan-African flavor. Quickly to you. You have an incumbent leadership for President Adama Barrow, as well as one of the strongest political parties in the UDP, and with the emergence of parties in this country, do we expect a very challenging, or should I say competitive elections come 2021?
It will be a very competitive election, to be honest with you, and as well, to just be brief with that, you will realize that the NPP, which is the party for the current president, and it's more or less like a fraction from the United Democratic Party, because this is where the president hailed from. And from the United Democratic Party was where he was selected to become the flag bearer, and then subsequently winning the coalition, flag bearer set. That actually ushered him to become president. Now, you will realize that if there is a division between him and the United Democratic Party that led to the fraction that he formed his own political party, that will have significant impact on the United Democratic Party. Now, when the president was still with the United Democratic Party, we could, without any doubt, say that the United Democratic Party at the time was, the party with the majority and was the party with high numbers and all that. But currently we could realize that things are changing and the narrative is changing, because the president is doing everything he can to get voters, and of course he's picking and getting people from all political parties, and dominantly from the United Democratic Party, because most of the key members of his political party were members of the United Democratic Party. So now one could say that the parties that are having high numbers in terms of the people joining the party currently are more or less probably the party of the president, and as well the new political party, which is more of like an elitist party, and of course a lot of young people are joining that political party, which is Citizens Alliance. So currently we can say the parties that are now trying to get people and are trying to convince the people to join their political agenda is that of the president, and as well the Citizens Alliance. Notwithstanding, the United Democratic Party until this time is probably the strongest political party that we have in the country. But of course, don't undermine and underrate the existence of other political parties and the trend in which the presidency is taking with his political party. So that the president's political party could definitely become a very big contender, when it comes to, the 2021 election. So there might be bigger competition between the United Democratic Party and, of course, the party of the incumbent president, Adam Barrow.
That's the voice of Mr. Malmo Jr., who is an environmentalist as well as a classroom lecturer, but then he's giving us his own assessment, should I say, evaluation of the Gambian political landscape ahead of our 2021 general and presidential elections here on Symbians VIP Magazine, VIP TV. We've been here, Tony MIKEL, Howard, your philosopher who we tasked with inspiring and motivating the current generation of young Africans in actualizing their dreams. I put this to you quickly, Mr. Malmo Jr. This is a yes or no question. Do you have any direct affiliation of any of the political parties in this country?
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
But you have a responsibility of attachment to any of the political party. It is your inalienable right. So what's the problem?
No, at this moment, I am very much busy with university work, and as well, getting on with a PhD, and as well, involved in a lot of activism and stuff like that. I think it is not the right moment for me to join partisan politics, even though I have a right to vote, and of course to understand the political dynamics of this country, and to know which party I would vote for depending on my own analysis of whom I think is the best person to lead this country. But yes, I am not really aligning myself with any political party for the moment, simply because of the activities I'm engaged in. But of course, notwithstanding with time, I might look into joining a political party to see how best we can drive issues around this country and probably change the narrative. But politicians are always the same, and then political theorists and philosophers will tell you in politics there is no permanent friend, but it's permanent interest. So let's see where my interest would lie, and that I think is the general interest and welfare of the Gambian people.
Yeah, that is very excellent from you. Now, since the departure of our Yahya Jammeh and the emergence of our President Adam Barrow, you have a very smooth political ground where you see different political parties popping up, which shows the beauty of democracy, so to speak. If you were to project the Gambia in the next 5 to 10 years, what kind of democracy do you expect in this country?
Yeah, the Gambia is still a young democracy, and of course I am very happy with the strength of the democracy, that people are going out to speak on issues that maybe years ago people cannot speak about them, and you could realize that a lot of things have changed, and that is quite very obvious and visible in terms of revelations coming from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, you know, and other agencies of this country. However, you know, how I would project this country in the future is I am not so much of a fan of multi-party democracy because, you know, to me, multi-party democracy is not for core nations like the Gambia. And this is why you realize that a nation of less than 2.4 million is almost having 15, 16, 17 political parties. I could jump tomorrow and say I'm registering a political party. So now, with more or less people are, instead of joining each other to have, you know, a unified voice and of course a collective force to actually change the political spectrum, everybody wants to stand on their own. And then that independence they're trying to seek and that individualistic level of politics is not going to help this country. So I think generally what needs to be done is a limit on the political parties we have and people joining these political parties to see how best they could, sell the agenda of those parties and not everybody standing up to register their own parties. But generally, I think we will get to a point where a 50+1 would be included in our constitution and that will help us, a bit in terms of, controlling, those political parties after the first round. Then we can see the best two that could definitely go into a second round. But as it stands, we still have the 1997 constitution and I wonder what would happen towards 2021 if there is no presidential term limit and of course the 50+1 for the upcoming election.
That's very great to hear from you. Let me take it outside the 2021 election. Take you back to I think a year ago, just of recent, you had a constitution that met the consent of the Gambian people across all borders. There was a chance for what you call the Constitution Review Commission, and it drafted that, but unfortunately that has been dragged by the riverside. Do you think that was a slap in the face of the Gambian people after the voices were all heard about what should be inculcated into laws to protect them for the future, only to find out that it was trashed out? What would you say about the constitution that was trashed out? To be honest with you, I was not in support of that constitution for obvious reasons. Okay. I am with the belief that you don't make or you don't draft a constitution for or against people. It should be for the common good and for the general, people of this country. But Mr. Malmo, just to inject, this met the concern of Gambians in the Gambia and in the diaspora as well. We saw the people traveling across the border, so it was not just all of a sudden. These were not just a group of people who sat down and put their own policies on paper. It met the concern of the people. Would you say yes to that? There are clauses in that constitution that did not come from the Gambian people. The Gambian people are not those that actually ask them to pay judges, all their benefits on retirement. They are not the only people in this country. They are not the only people who are sacrificing much more in this country. They are not the people with the highest risk of jobs in this country. So that I felt was quite inappropriate. To me too, having that regressive law, that was something that I did not really buy into that idea, even if it comes from the Gambian people. It doesn't mean that if the majority says something, that means it is right. To me, that is quite not right. That you have to really include the current term of the president in the new constitution. I felt that was a bit specifically put in there for the current president, and as well, talking about how can you have in a constitution a lower limit of me becoming a president, that if I am not 30, I am not qualified to be president, but somebody who is as old as 100 can be president. There is a lower limit and there is no upper limit. That I felt is unfair to the younger people, because if you can tell me, Omar, you cannot be president simply because of the cognitive development of your mind, because you might not have the mind to really deliver to expectation or to think critically on how to run the affairs of this country, then we understand biologically when people grow old, what would happen? There is still that cognitive deterioration of their mind, that they cannot think critically and they cannot really make decisions that might be sound for the general well-being of the people. So therefore, wherever there is a lower limit for presidency, there should be an upper limit for that presidency. So based on those reasons, I felt that this constitution has a lot of lapses that I cannot vote for. And of course, I understand that the review commission felt that, of course, there is no way this could be rejected, so we can actually put in certain clauses just to, of course, satisfy the judiciary, which I felt was quite disappointing from the commission altogether. And I'm not sure some of those things are from the Gambian people. Generally, of course, a lot of good things have been done in the constitution, but there are some of the clauses in that constitution that definitely will screw this country for the rest of lifetime, which I felt
was definitely not the right thing to do. And of course, just a single clause leading to, trashing a constitution of over 116 million is a big disappointment to this country. And of course, the people that were selected to draft that constitution, not understanding, not just drafting a constitution have both those legal instruments that need to be looked into, but of course the political climate and of course the political instruments need to be understood to understand that no side of the political divide tell that they are being victimized by a particular document that is developed for the general populace of the people. A constitution should be there to serve the interest of all people without victimizing any, but I felt that the draft constitution was actually at some point favoring certain people and of course denying certain people certain rights. Because if you tell me I cannot become a president because I am young, but somebody can be as old as 200 and can be president, that does not really relate well with me. As well, if you tell me that somebody who is probably jailed and of course is not a victim here and there, there are certain clauses in the constitution that are specifically for certain personalities and certain persons. So it should not be that way. To me, I think it should serve the well-being of the general Gambian and not just specific people in the political divide. So I think it was more political than serving the general purpose of a constitution.
So in essence, the trashing out of that very constitution was more or less a blessing for the Gambian people.
Could you take that again?
I'm saying in essence, the trashing out of that very new constitution was more or less a blessing for the Gambian people.
Not generally a blessing for the Gambian people, but I felt that the best thing that could have been done was actually to have an impartial constitution that do not have, favoring clauses for certain people and of course victimizing other people. Generally, the Gambian people would want term limit. The Gambian people would want, how do we call it, 50+1 in the election. The Gambian people would definitely want a constitution that talks about, having, their rights protected here and there, and of course looking into, commissions that look into corruption and issues like that. Of course, those are very well written and quite well done. But just a single clause that is completely biased led to the trashing of the document. That means the drafters of the document did not understand the political climate of this country, that they put in certain clauses that they know could definitely backfire and could lead to the trashing of the constitution. That I felt some of the clauses definitely should not pass. And of course there was no way the National Assembly, knowing the division within the Assembly, to allow it to pass to the third reading to say let's remove this, let's add this. It's politics. People would definitely then look into their interests, and those that would allow it to pass to that level will become victims. And this is why those on the camp of the president actually decided to vote against it, simply because they felt the president was being victimized by the constitution, which in the first place supposed not to be. People look into their interests. It's not the general welfare. Anybody who wants to rule you is telling you they are looking into their interests before yours. So generally that is politics, and this is what the political theorists and philosophers would tell you.
That is there. Very grateful. Our guest today is a very interesting conversation here with Mr. Malmo Jr., who is an environmentalist as well as a classroom lecturer from the University of the Gambia. We've been here, THONY, MIKEL, Howard on Symbians VIP Magazine, VIP TV here in the West African nation of the Gambia, aka the Smiling Coast of Africa. Be reminded that this edition of the conversation is proudly sponsored by the Supersonic Money Transfer Service, which remains the best remittance service provider not only in the Gambia but by extension the rest of the African continent, where sending and receiving money from the United States of America, Canada, United Kingdom, as well as anywhere in Europe to the Gambia becomes quite too easier. They are reliable, they are safe, and very convenient. For more information, you can go to the website on www.supersonics.co.uk and enjoy the fabulous opportunity this remittance service provider has to offer you in this very beautiful country. Mr. Malmo, we're driving close to the end of this conversation. I want you to talk to the Gambian people in two of the popular languages. We'll start with Mandinka, so to speak. Talk to the Gambian people as the nation heads to a general and presidential elections. We might have different political ideologies about how this country should be governed, but one thing that remains a unifying force is that this country, the Gambia, is the only country that cannot be deported from the must put aside the tribal and religious differences, the political differences, and hold together for national development. Speak 1 minute to the Gambian people in Mandinka on the maintenance of all peace and stability ahead of a general and presidential elections. It starts.
Yeah, thank you very much. Abadingol ngal kontong kombe kasa kono nyamin drong ba Gambia la gol ci be kan ni soko politiko fanala. Bara min ko mara drong wala nyinti ko ni do nim poto kala da foy nyofa. Ngai bantalan ko le binala woto to ene tol fala sango keta. So what of Gambian to order Nasero, Mang Banku dos na Minkin na Banku, the political canal Sanjano Mainaita. Para minka to the Roland Gambia and political mal. So body yam then came a drunk coach of it drunk. Wokola, political canal Sanjano Maita Mokina Keno Mantari Mopla Kenwan. Para Mokina Poa and Banko Bay to Mundum Paramania Sonawala. So all I need to go Kabadia Supurlon drunk political Yandakila put to me along idea and the Maluti Makana put to me along Benjana. So and the Fed Alnamira, the political Kanatan Jano Nata Drunga, Kedo Napotala Butunga, Yakilim Banku Dokuala, and Anunkula Mini along Benabang. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I would really want to sit under you for private class in Madinka.
Why not? We can definitely do that.
That's beautiful. Please, can you please replicate this very message in 1 minute in Wolof language, please?
Okay, comme lu ñuy wax ci kàllaama soose daal mooy ne lu ñuy waxtaanee tey mooy mbiri politique Gambia at nu moo demee ngir at buy ñëw nii xam nañ ne élection dina fi am. waaye lu gën a am solo daal élection ku nekk rek da ngay vote ko bëgg a votal da ngay sànnil ko bëgg a sànnil waaye lu gën a am solo mooy ne Gambien mi mu xam ne dem karami réew mi moo ñu gën a amal solo moo ñu gën a ite benn nit la ñooy fal waaye nag benn nit warut a tax dëkk bi yëpp jaxasoo wala ñi war a jiite wala ñee fi am ci ay naqas nudul noonu so lu gën a am solo daal mooy ne ñu jàppalante ñu jàppante xam ne dëkk bi daal ñun ñoo ko moom bu baaxee ñun la baaxal bu yàquwee ñun la yàqal waaye nag boo gisee ñaari mag ak rakk ñuy xeex ba di reyante ñeneen ñi daal ñooy ñëw nag war a inherit seen alali bàyyi wala leen so balaa loolu di am daal ñun kay ñu toog ñu téye suñu dëkk bi ñu xool naka la mooy demee kanam loolu daal moo gën a am solo jërëjëf.
Yeah, that is very great. We draw closer to the end of 2020. Perhaps from January to this month of December, there must have been some people who were very of great impact in your life, possibly not in your life, but as far as this country is concerned, they were of very positive impact in the Gambia. I want you to talk to 3 important people across your heart that you think deserves the zenith of salute, should I say appreciation from you. Talk to them.
Thank you very much. It's interesting to look into the past and see people that really contributed to one's life and getting to where you are today. But first, I would say, I think Mr. John T. Mendy has been a very instrumental person in my life. Now we call him Dr. John T. Mendy. He was a professor of mathematics at the University of the Gambia. He's been a very instrumental person. Definitely, I grew up in a missionary, so it's not about having elderly people trying to coach or save you, but I grew in the midst of my own colleagues, and then this is how we lived our life in a missionary all the way down. So what I would say is Nene Gomez and Pap Musa Sambu were quite very instrumental people in my life, and these are people that definitely I think deserve a lot of ovation from me, mostly when I got to talk to people about how life has been and how it's been going for now. So those 3 people are very instrumental and key in my personal development, and to the level where we are today, they've been very, very key, at every level and in every aspect.
That is very great from you. If we would take leave of you. Any final words, sir?
Thank you very much. What I would say is the Gambia belongs to us. When it is good, it's for us. When it is bad, it's for us. Politics come and go. Only one person can become president. So what is important is the collective good, the common good, and as well, let's look into the general interest of the Gambia and the welfare of the Gambian people in all our dealings. Competence over compensation. Thank you.
Huge salute to you, Mr. Malmo Jr., for your participation today on the conversation here on GAMBIA-THE magazine and TV, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
For those of you who follow us on social media, I would say a very huge salute to you for your constant support and viewership on this very Pan-African media house that is only tasked with the responsibility of reconnecting the rest of your continent. This is here we recognize our problems and find a valuable solution to them, because like Paul Kagame of Rwanda says, until Africans learn to own their own problems, find their own solutions, they won't be able to write their own stories. This is the time that we need to learn to take responsibilities about our concerns and then join hands and find a lasting solution to them, because nobody is going to do that for us if we do not do it ourselves. Thank you very much for being with me, Tony MIKEL. How the guy says, this edition is proudly sponsored by the Super Sunday Money Transfer Service, which remains the best remittance service provider not only in this country but by extension the rest of the African continent. Beautiful experience, one of the brightest sons of the soil, in person of myself, Malmo Jr. from the UTG, and a senior environmental for the Gambia to the European Union. Thank you. If you like, follow us. Bye bye.
Supersonics Money Transfer is giving you an unbeatable bonanza from now until the end of October. Yes! From now till the end of October, you stand a chance of winning a bag of rice when you receive monies in the Gambia from UK, Europe, USA, Canada and Switzerland with Supersonics Money Transfer. Amazing! So from now till the end of October, every time you receive monies in the Gambia from UK, Europe, USA, Canada and Switzerland, you stand a chance of winning a bag of rice. Only 100 bags available, so hurry now and be part of the 100 lucky winners in this special unbeatable bonanza from now until the end of October with Supersonics Money Transfer. Enjoy our safe, fast, reliable and convenient money transfer service with the largest payout network in the Gambia with charges starting from $0. Yes! Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonics Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics. The unbeatable bonanza with Supersonics.